Hey, welcome to Tuesday Tea Time with Dorarena. And I want to welcome all our first time viewers and those that will be watching the replay. We are from Women of Wisdom. We are a nonprofit organization here to empower and to build or bridge the generational gap between the older and the younger generations, to empower with practical wisdom and confidence. And I want to point out that we empower with practical wisdom. And so, practical wisdom is wisdom that for everyday affairs of life, knowing how to make right decisions and how to apply the knowledge that you receive so that your outcomes are revealing wisdom, choosing career goals, or whether it's to be a mom or to be a wife, or, just that practical application using wisdom. And so that's what we're here. And as we bridge the generational gap between the older and the younger generation, we can pass on that vital knowledge to one another so that we can build strength among us and be open and transparent and be able to receive and add to each other's lives, because it is very important that as teen girls and women that we understand one another and help each other to grow in life and understand the practical things of life, and that some things are just normal and some things we need to learn how to have the right attitude as we deal with life situations. And so these are some of the things that you will learn as you join us and walk in wisdom with us at Women of Wisdom. All right. I usually share with you my tea, but tonight I decided that I'm going to do water tonight. So I got me a cold, fresh water. I do have my cup, though. It's in my cup. I don't know. Let's see if you can see this. But yeah, Mrs. Smith. I got that from one of my mentees. So I hope that you have your beverages tonight, and whatever you decide to drink, that you fill your cup up with lots of wisdom tonight. All right. So we're going to go directly into our subject tonight. And let's put that up there. Women of Wisdom. Tuesday Tea Time. And our subject tonight is strength and weaknesses. We are going to examine a book that really helped me in my early years of life. And actually, my oldest brother had this book. And I kind of had read a little bits and pieces all of it and stuff. And I'm like, wow, what happened to this book? Well, later on, way after I got married, I found the book and bought it. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And I've read this book probably a couple of times already. So this will be my third time going through the book. But before I mention that to you, you know that when we discover what our strengths are and what our weaknesses are, it will help us to open up doors to another level of life. Because the more that you know about yourself, the more that you can manage your affairs a lot better and you'll know how to manage people better. And so it's so important that we are able to accept our strengths and not be arrogant about it, and accept our weaknesses without self condemnation. And so learning how to do life with balance is key to doing life right. Okay. So let me share with you. You know, I always have well, at least I try to always have a quote for you. So the quote that I have tonight, let's read this together. It says, my attitude is that if you push me towards things that you think is a weakness, then I will turn that perceived weakness into a strength. That's Michael Jordan. And we know how successful Michael Jordan uh, has been in life. And so he's saying that, you know, this is his attitude, you know, to push towards, you know, whatever someone else perceives as a weakness, he will turn it around as a strength. And so we need to make sure that we are aware of our own strengths and weaknesses, and just, you know, do us in life, regardless to what everybody else is perceiving, regardless to what everybody else thinks or their ideas. As you discover more about yourself, come on, don't tell me you can't live a more solid life and you're not easily moved by other people's perceptions about you. And so you can do life in a way where you have peace about how you do life, because you're not really concerned about what everybody else thinks, because you know yourself. You're not worried about what everybody else perceive your weaknesses to be, because you already know what they are. You already know what your strengths are, and you don't have to prove anything to anybody. Just do you and know you. And that's the important part of learning things about ourselves. So let me share this with you. Well, okay, let me just share with you. This is what I'm talking about. Why you act the way you do. This is by Tim LaHaye. And you can actually go online and download a PDF file for it. But what this talks about, let me post this up here and show you what this talks about. It talks about the four temperaments, and helping you to understand which temperament you fall in. You have a primary one, and then there could be a secondary one, but you want to know what those are so that you can understand yourself, so you can understand why you do what you do. All right. So here we go. A sanguine temperament is characterized by sociability. They're real more social type people. They love being around people. They love talking. They easily can initiate a conversation. The choleric, by assertiveness. You know, they're pretty, well, it speaks for itself, assertive. You know, they're kind of outgoing, self-motivated. They don't really need that push. They push themselves. And then you have the melancholic, by thoughtfulness. The melancholic is more of an introverted type of person, but also, well, uh, they're real creative type people, and they kind of prefer to just kind of be by themselves. They do deal with a lot of melancholy stuff. Okay, and then you have the phlegmatic, which is a calm person. They're cool, calm, and collective. That's my husband. He's a phlegmatic, but they do deal with, having the perfectionist attitude. They want everything to be just right, but they're more introvert. So you have the two extroverts, which is the sanguine and the choleric, and then you have the two introverts, which is the melancholic and the phlegmatic person. Okay, so we want to discover, where do we fall in the temperament, the category temperaments. And so we're going to start out with the choleric person and do each temperament and just kind of look at what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, and then you can determine your own self, what category do you fall in. And you know what I discovered about the whole thing as I went through the book and looked to see what applies to me and what doesn't apply to me, it really kind of helped me see the positive things about myself. And then it helped me to see even where I needed improvement. And I looked at some of the weak things, and I'm looking through this and I'm like, oh my goodness, that's me. That's me. That's me. Oh yeah, that's me. And I need to improve in that. And so just kind of touching a little bit on some of the things that are in here. It does show us the weaknesses and the strengths. And so even like the sanguine, I'll just kind of give you a little brief list on here. It talks about the strengths are they're outgoing, they're passionate, enthusiastic, talkative, warm and friendly, and responsive. And their weaknesses is they're egocentric, unproductive, emotionally unstable, and undisciplined. So we're looking at the strengths and we're looking at the weaknesses. And the thing of it is that, as you, some things you just can't change until you look at them and see them for what they are. And then you can grow in them and change in those areas. And as long as you don't know that you need to change in a certain area, you're not going to change it. And so one of the things, I'm going to be transparent with you, one of the things that I was looking at years ago, they had this personality test thing, and compassion and mercy was the lowest one on my list. And I'm like, wow, because yeah, I was that person. And I thought, ooh, I need to change that. So over the years, I've learned to not be to not be so hard and mean. I had to learn to have compassion and to have mercy. And as time went by, I would go back and I would take that test again. And I saw that, just slowly I started kind of bumping up on the list, and I started having more compassion and more mercy towards people and stuff. And so that's what I'm saying. Unless you discover those things, unless you're willing to look at your weaknesses, you can't improve them. And as we improve in life, it gives us the potential in life for us to do greater things increase. And when we refuse to look at those things, when we refuse to accept the truth about ourselves, then we are falling in deception. We get stuck in life, and then we can't improve. And those things that are in our future, that's waiting, those doors that are waiting to be opened by us, will never be open, and we will never enjoy life, the peace of life, and the prosperity of life, because we refuse to look at some things that we personally need to change in our personalities. And so that doesn't mean that that is going to just go away. What that means is that, you can know how to manage yourself better, manage your emotions better, manage your life better when you know who you are, when you understand that, oh, okay, this is the reason why I act the way I do. Oh, this is what I need to do to make that adjustments or make that change. And then we can start discovering ourselves at a deeper level. And then that's when you can start bypassing some of the mistakes that you've made in the past. So you're not going in that circle, continuing to go in that circle in the wilderness for 40 years, if you know what I mean. So that's what we're gonna talk about. Why do I act the way I do? Let's look at our weaknesses. Let's look at our strengths. Let's look at bumping up our lifestyle, recognizing things that we need to see about ourselves so that we can do life better, and then apply that practical wisdom to our everyday lives so that we can live a better life and share a better future with those behind us. All right. How about that for Tuesday Tea Time? Thank you for joining me tonight. And as I always tell you, Dorarena loves you. And remember to always walk in wisdom. All right. Good night.